Welcome to the show that takes up no more than 5 minutes of your time, but could help you gain massive real estate knowledge. It's 5 Minutes in Real Estate with best-selling author Shane Willis.
Well, good morning. Shane Willis, a Pensacola real estate expert, coming to you from a very, very frigid morning. It's cold here. Very, very cold here. I'm out fixing to do this podcast episode, and I always try and leave the house when I do that. I either walk the block or go out into the car or, something. I walked out for a second, and, of course, we got a lot of ice. There's some snow on the ground. The schools are out. The day of this recording, the schools are actually out because there's so much ice on the ground. It's so cold. And I know that I'm going to get some people that listen to this podcast all over the country and look at me and go, no way, it is not cold. You live in Florida. So quit whining. But because I was expecting that, I actually pulled up the temperatures as I speak to record this right now. The temperatures right now in Anchorage, Alaska, 32 degrees. The temperature right now in New York City, 34 degrees. The temperature right now in the Pensacola area, 21 degrees. So yes, it is cold here. I know we don't normally get this, and the whole reason schools are out is because we don't have a whole lot of ice trucks sitting aside waiting for to salt the roads so that we can get the buses running. We just don't have that here because we normally don't have it. But this winter has been cold. This is the first time in my lifetime, and I've lived here in the Pensacola area since the early 80s when I moved here as a kid. This is the first time I have ever seen snow on the ground more than once during a winter, and this is actually the third time I've seen it this winter. So it's cold, but I know this particular podcast, we are not here to talk about the weather. It's just very much on my mind right now as I sit in my car and cannot see out any of my windows because of the ice, even with the sun sitting here. I'm trying to turn up the defroster, if you can hear that, so that we can defrost these things out. And I need to run somewhere here in a minute. But today's episode, I wanted to talk to you about down payments because there was a report came across my desk. And it was from the National Association of Realtors, the Realtors Confidence Index. Realtors Confidence Index, part of this report came out that said 61% of first-time home buyers purchased their home with a down payment below 6%. Now, the study was done in the fourth quarter of last year, so we have got, I say fourth quarter of last year, I'm sorry, it was fiscal year last year, not fourth quarter. So that's October 2016 through November 2017. Down payment less than 6%. There's a lot of people that are on the fence on whether or not they should buy a property or not, or continue renting, and they think it's because they don't have enough money saved for the down payment. The down payment is one financial aspect. There are closing costs that need to be considered as well. But I wanted to make sure that everyone knew, did you know that nationwide there are over 2,000 down payment assistance programs? And with FHA going 3%, 3.5%, there's conventional loans out there at 3%. I know of a couple of lenders here that are doing conventional loans at 1% down. Now, are you going to be able to show up here with a 500 credit score because you've missed quite a few payments and still get a 1% down? No. There's going to be some other criteria. But I wanted to bring up the point that lower down payments than the 20% that is advertised is normal now. So that is a misconception that's happening in our marketplace that you have to have 20% down. There was a senior economist that came out, and I'll actually be putting these in the notes if you want to see the whole comment, the whole economic report, you're more than welcome to. But he said, looking into 2018, rent is expected to continue gaining. More widespread rent growth could mean home buying demand stays high as renters who can afford to move away from the unpredictability of rising rents towards the relative stability of a monthly mortgage payment instead. I can tell you now that every time I go to renew one of my lease for my tenants are asking me, are you going to go up on the rent? It depends on the tenant, depends on the property for my answer. But there are a lot of properties right now that, yes, every year you're going to go up. Why? Because you can get it. As a landlord, I know that if this property has been renting at $1,000 and I look around and everybody's getting $1,095, that if I go up to $1,050, I know I can get it. It's only an extra $50 a month, but that's $600 a year. That almost pays for the insurance. So why wouldn't you? Now, as a renter, you don't like that answer. I agree. I rented for a long time. But as a landlord, you know, hey, rents are going to continue to rise. So as a renter, maybe you should consider the possibility that owning a home would actually make more financial sense. And is it always? No. I think it was either yesterday or last week sometime I talked to you about a couple of different avenues, a couple of different discussions where renting made more sense. It was because of other aspects. But when we look just financially, most of the time, the stability of a mortgage, when you put it on a 30-year fixed, makes more sense. So I wanted to show these numbers to you. If you're a first-time home buyer and you're kicking around the idea and just won't even know if you qualify, there's a link down below. Make sure you click it. We'll do a quick 20-minute phone conversation. We'll discuss your options. All right, that's all I got for you today. As always, if you are not getting the tips, tricks that I put out with this podcast, make sure you get over to 5minutesinrealestate.com. That's 5minutesinrealestate.com. Also ask that you head over to your favorite player, whether it be iTunes or Google Play, and subscribe to the podcast so you know podcast. Is that a word, podcast? Yeah, it's called podcast, so that you know when the new episodes are coming out. We always love a thumbs up and maybe a comment. And finally, if you found any value in this or any of the episodes, make sure you share it on social media. All right, try and stay warm today. For the kids that are out of school, stay warm, catch up on your homework, because you know some of y'all are behind. We'll talk to you later.